afternoon, members of the press. I'd like to update you on two matters. Last night I attended a reception in Puerto Rico for the Puerto Ricans who did so much to help us in the immediate period after the hurricanes. They call themselves the Puerto Rico Army, or Navy rather, Puerto Rico Navy. There were about 30 to 40 people in attendance, some of whose homes were damaged afterwards, after they came to assist us, by Hurricane Maria. They mobilized support from hundreds of people in Puerto Rico. They brought 12 fully stocked containers with food, water, and building supplies. This was a total of 12 out of a total of 24 containers of donated goods. So they brought approximately half of the supplies of goods in terms of building supplies and so to the country. And I must say that when I was there speaking with them, they were all excited about being part of the BVI rebuild, and I committed to continue to work with the BVI in that regard. The other short statements, the other one I want to say, I was informed about another death today, violent death, and I'm deeply disturbed. I'd like to say to the young men involved, what is happening is not helping neither them nor their country. If this continues, it could only destroy their future and that of their brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters. And I once again call on the community to do the right thing and assist law enforcement officers in protecting our way of life. The senseless nature of these acts of violence that appear to be continuing is an outrage. I offer heartfelt condolences to the family of another victim that resulted from gun violence. It further reinforces to me that any and all efforts that will be made towards improved security in this territory is worth all the resources that can be allocated to it. The BVI has historically been a very peaceful and tranquil place for residents and visitors alike. In a joint press conference yesterday, the governor indicated that the government will not cease until they have attained a measure of security that can afford us all some peace of mind. I'm beseeching the public to be part of the important discourse that will help to shape improved law enforcement capacity. As I said before, we must all take responsibility for our own security and prosperity. I call on all of us to be a part of the important discourse that will help to shape and improve law enforcement capacity. We must all have zero tolerance to crime. Thank you.
Premier, good afternoon to you. Premier, as the territory moves towards this whole issue of recovery, instead of went to Puerto Rico, it seems as though there are some forces, people who seem to be working, if I could put it, seem to be working against it. I'm talking about the billboard. I believe you'll have seen it in Rotterdam this morning, saying that even the BVI landers do not support the UK's financial or the framework for the recovery plan and calling persons to vote against it. First of all, sir, have you seen that billboard and your thoughts of it?
I have seen the billboard. Let me say quite outrightly, I'm not in favor of holding back the recovery of the country, as some other people may be. We cannot rebuild on our own. We must negotiate with the UK and get the best conditions we can afford. But the reality, we cannot rebuild on our own. What we have to do is stop the politics and get on with the rebuild. You know? The condition mentioned in Maine that the conditions that were spoken about, that the UK asked for in order to guarantee the loan, these are standard international conditions when it comes to major funding. Because the people who are guaranteeing have an obligation to repay if we can't. And so these conditions are meant to ensure that we can repay the loans. And we won't borrow more than we can afford to repay. Basically, we have a responsibility, the Ministry of Finance, to ensure that. And the UK has a responsibility to ensure that they don't guarantee more than we can repay. It's as simple as that. Right? The conditions mentioned, that's what I just mentioned. And when it comes to the billboard, I do not know who's responsible. It could be any person, an individual in a group of persons, even persons within the National Democratic Party, my own party. I don't know. But I want to say to whoever it is, let us stop this and start to work together to rebuild in this country.
So are you saying, sir, that it's possible that there could be forces within your party who are working against you? And because it could be, are there forces working against you? And also, if you're not sure, you'll be trying to find out or investigate to see if there's actually people within your organization?
What I'm concerned is about the people out there who don't have roofs over their head. I'm concerned about the economy, which is being largely destroyed, our tourism economy and other parts of the economy. And if we don't get those rebuilt, none of us will have a place to call home, right? So I'm interested and concerned in getting that economy rebuilt so we could all have a place to live, to work, and to be peaceful in, right?
You said you're not concerned. Who want to work against you, but you're not concerned about it.
I am concerned. But I'm saying to them, let us stop this petty nonsense. Let us get on with rebuild. I think everybody else in this country understands the need to rebuild, especially those people who are affected. And they all understand, too, that we need to have the finances in order to do the rebuild. And I think everybody in business understands that if you're going to borrow money, there are terms and conditions to borrowing that money.
Premier, last month there was a 3-page document outlining a list of those terms and conditions that the UK proposed. Could you tell us today which ones that the BVI government has agreed to oblige?
I'm sorry, I can't give you I didn't come prepared to that, right? But what I will say is that, as I said just now, these are conditions which are, most of them, things which people would want to make sure, to make sure that you can afford to repay. Also, many of the things which are mentioned there are things which we are in the process of doing, right? For example, what was mentioned was the audit accounts. Now, we all know that the audit accounts are late, you know. We all know that we've been trying very hard to get them. We've gone through 3 chief auditors and also several accountant generals. Now, 2 chief auditors and several accountant generals. But we are well on the way towards having them done now. I myself organized the process within the Ministry of Finance and Treasury to be able to have them done as efficiently as possible. And now the Auditor General, they're doing what they have to do their audit of the reports. So most of the reports from the Treasury are up to date, and now they have to go to the Auditor General to audit them. Now, when audit is done, sometimes you may have a figure wrong here, a figure wrong there, and that's what the audit is supposed to do, and that's what they will do.
One of the stipulations is also mandating membership in the Caribbean catastrophe risk insurance portfolio. Is that something that your government is planning on doing?
That is something that we will do. It is something that we had considered before, but it is no doubt it's something that is needed, and we will do that.
Premier, my first newspaper. Just going back to Zam's billboard question and tying it in with your opening remarks about the recent shooting. Are you concerned as the BVI leader that the shootings and then this concern as it relates to the recovery fund is actually putting the territory or casting attention in the wrong direction at this point?
Well, absolutely. It's putting the country at risk. Because what we need to be doing is to rebuild in our country. Remember that this country depends on visitors for its economy. That's the tourism economy, which is actually the sector of the economy that employs most people. You'd also remember that a significant number, hundreds of people, have been laid off after subsequent hurricane. And particularly in Virgin Gorda. Virgin Gorda is a country where it's a part of the territory which depended heavily on tourism, and those hotels were largely destroyed. And so there are many people, hundreds of people, who are now without employ. If we do not rebuild this country, they will continue, and then what will happen to these folks? There's a real, a catastrophe waiting to happen. We cannot allow that to happen.
So, Premier, the billboard is calling for a vote. is there a public vote coming up, some sort of referendum? Do you have any idea what vote it's referring to?
I don't know what they're referring to. I know that after we decided on the recovery, how we're going to go about it, we put a plan together. And I know that we've been around to the various districts, all the districts in the territory, having dialogue with the members in the community, asking them for their ideas. So at the end, we'll have a document with projects that are completely supported by the entire territory. I also know that the process is that this government are the ones, will be the ones, and are the ones who must select what these projects will be. Nobody else as that will be able to say what should be done. The government of the Virgin Islands has to decide what these projects will be after they've made the necessary assessments, right? And then once that decision is made, this goes to cabinet, and then those are the projects that will be done.
So based on all that was said, we were still on the billboard matter. And what you said, you're not sure if persons in your party. If it is a vote, then obviously since we're not going to have a referendum, it has to be the House of Assembly vote. Is there going to be a motion or a bill or an act put before the House for voting as it relates to this fund?
To the billboard?
Not the billboard, the recovery fund.
No, there will be it will be taken to the House of Assembly, and there will be a debate. Yes.
So therefore, sir, do you think you might need to address the caucus to find out if there are persons with concerns, you know, just in case the billboard attracts their attention and they do vote no?
We meet on a regular basis, and we'll continue to meet and discuss all the issues that we need to discuss before we go to the House of Assembly. Yeah.
Sir, we're now going on to the third month in 2018, and there have been a considerable amount of shootings, we can all agree, some resulting in injuries, 3 deaths. Do you think there is any correlation between what the BVI is experiencing in terms of the being affected by the hurricanes and this increase in the number of gun crimes?
Well, it is possible, but I won't be able to give you an answer. That would have to be done once the police do their statistics and and make that correlation. But I can't say that. What I can say is that the looting incident that occurred after Hurricane Irma was really something that was not representative of this community, and I hope never again to be representative of this community. I also know that the shootings that are happening now, again, is something that is, the incidence is unusual, and this is why we are calling on the community to assist as far as possible. And this is why we have decided to allocate more monies to assist the law enforcement officers to do their jobs more effectively and more efficiently.
Sir, and what do you think about because most of the shootings, all of the shootings, as far as I understand, has happened on Tortola. What do you think of the idea of implementing a curfew, because the Curfew Act was just passed recently? What do you think about implementing a curfew?
The curfew was put in place because there was a large-scale damage to the territory following the hurricanes Irma and Maria, large-scale. And there was large-scale looting and violence. So curfews are put in place when you have such large-scale things, right? Right now, I think that we need to enhance the capacity of the law enforcement agency to do their work. And this is why we are increasing or giving them additional assistance in terms of monetary assistance to purchase things like CCTV cameras, both for the police and for the customs, and other things that they need in order to be able to increase their capacity. And they may even need to bring in additional police officers into the force. Right now, we have agreed that the force will be increased on a constant basis. But a lot of those officers, of course, will be new once they are just coming to the force, and they'll have to be trained, right?
So you don't think a curfew is necessary?
At this moment, I wouldn't think so. But it's not something that we should rule out. It's something we have to always keep in mind, and we have to continue assessing the situations. Good.
A week or two ago, you had a press conference in this room regarding the interim working group with the Recovery and Development Agency. Do you know when the permanent or 5-year-long leadership of the Recovery and Development Agency will be announced? Who will be on that leadership, and can you describe in detail how those people will be selected?
No, I can't give you the exact time, but I should say within the next, I would say within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
How will those people be selected?
They'll be selected, I think we went through that. Yeah. There's a chairman, and there's 2 representatives from the BVI government.
I'm not asking what the makeup is.
Oh, I see.
Who's putting forward those names? Like who's?
Well, the representatives from the BVI government will be put forward by the government of BVI. One will be put forward by the leader of the opposition. The representatives from the UK will be put forward by the UK.
Premier, let's go back to the billboard. You said that the whole issue, it could have been put up there by your own people, right? And so that showed that it could be a concern, it's a concern to you, I believe. But isn't it scary, sir, that making that statement that the billboard could be put up by your own persons or your own people, there's a fear of brings in the lack of trust within in your people. My fellow colleague would have spoke about caucus, but it could have been put up by members in caucus.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was put up by members. I'm not saying it was put up by.
No,
wait, let me start again, right? It was what I said. It was let me say it again. It may be an individual or group, even from my own party, the NDP. Now, I'm not saying in the NDP is a large organization with members from all over the territory. But I'm not saying that they did it. I'm saying anything is possible.
So the possibility exists. You could have been put up by your own people in government. The possibility exists.
Anything is possible, but that is not what I'm saying. Yeah.
But that is possible. Right. What I'm saying that isn't that scary then by making such a statement, right? It's scary where you don't know who put it up. They could have been put up by your own people, even members of government. Is that scary and one of trust come into question at this point?
No, I don't expect that it was put up by any member of government. Let me just come right out and say that. Okay?
And lastly, in relation to the recovery, who will be appointing the chairman to the recovery agency?
The chairman will be appointed on the agreement between the premier and the governor.
So it's not by the governor?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. And sometimes it is important to re-emphasize certain things. And I think what happened this morning caused me to wonder and pause a bit and say, look, it is in time to repeat what I've said before, because we cannot afford to go on like this.